All right. So welcome, Jack, on Webfit News. And yeah, please go ahead, introduce yourself.
Hello. Hello, Ravi. Thank you very much for having me. Hello, everyone who's watching Webfit News this evening. My name is Jack Pinczewski. I am the government relations leader in the Asia Pacific for Wise, an international money transfer company. We specialize in helping businesses and people send and spend money overseas. We were established about 15 or 16 years ago in London by two Europeans who had difficulty sending money back to their home country. And since then, we've grown to be 8,500 people strong around the world. We have offices in, I think, at least 20 different countries. And we've grown from strength to strength. We have now in excess of 11 million customers who are using us monthly. And a great many of them are in New Zealand already. So for us, it's always a pleasure to talk about this issue, to talk about the issues of international money transfer. The reason I am in New Zealand at the moment is there is currently a very exciting bill before the New Zealand Parliament that is going to help show the difference between, help show the costs of international money transfer. And the reason we're so excited about this bill is because it offers a genuine opportunity for consumers to be able to see the true costs of international money transfer, gives them an opportunity to figure out who is best for them. You know, if they want to go for a cheaper option based on price, they can do that. But it's a really, really good opportunity to talk about the need to understand FX margin in respect of sending money back home, because I know a lot of people in the Indian community here in New Zealand, in Aotearoa, in Australia, and all around the world have had problems associated with picking the best possible option. So Ravi, what I might do is I might walk through some of the offerings that are available, and to let people understand what an FX margin is, I can explain what it looks like in practice.
Definitely, because this is one important thing, I think, because this involves money. And like you said, every individual in this country who's making money, they are, sending money from one place to another for sure. And of course, this is something which will be in their own personal benefit. So I'm sure people are looking forward to. And Jack, I'll request you one thing. If you can take an example, like if they are, if say suppose, my money and I'm sending $1,000, so how much actually it makes. So if you can just take an example and try to explain when you are doing the presentation, that will be really great. Yeah,
very happy to do that. So let's use a round number. We'll say that you want to send 1,000 New Zealand dollars. You've saved up all month. You want to send 1,000 New Zealand dollars back home to family in India. That's a very, very common way for people to spend money overseas, is for remittances. That is to say, for your family. What I'm going to do is I'll share a common. I'm going to make sure that we don't identify who is using this, but this is a common way that it works. So you have 1,000 New Zealand dollars here. It offers the opportunity to send in New Zealand dollars, and you want to send to India. So you send to Indian rupee, and that's what you see on your screen. And this is the indicative exchange rate from a couple of days ago when I showed this to a group of other Indian migrants who are concerned about this. And this is what it gives you at the end is 54,655 rupees, and it says to you that the exchange rate is 54 rupees to $1 New Zealand dollar, and a transfer fee of $0. This is the sort of standard that you see from a bank, and it offers you a snapshot into what it is that's going on. If we move to what you would see on Google at the same time, I think it would be quite interesting for your readers, for your viewers to see just what happens when we go take a look at the rate that one might see on Google. And the rate one might see on Google is actually 56,341 rupees. So you're nearly close to 2,000 rupees worse off by going through your bank to send money overseas. So your 1,000 rupees, if you were to look on Google first, you would think you were getting 56,341 rupees, but it's more like 54,500 rupees. So a considerable difference. And the consequences, this is what we call the FX margin. This is the foreign exchange margin. And it's the way that a bank or an international money transfer company will show you It's the way that they will make money on an international transaction, and it's very important for your excuse me. It's very important for your viewers to know that this is the most common way that international money transfer is priced these days. This is the way in which many banks are now using pricing it. So they're not offering international money transfers with a fixed fee. They're offering it with an FX margin. And this margin can be anywhere between 2.5% to 5.5%, depending on the currency route that you're sending it, the amount that you're sending, what time of the week you're sending it. Sometimes it's more expensive on weekends, but it is a cost to you. It is a cost to the consumer, and it does add up. So what Wise does separately to this is we give you the mid-market rate. So we give you the rate that you would see on Google. And the reason we do this is because we believe that not doing a markup is a much better way for the consumer to see what they would be getting. And we also have to say that we do charge a fee, but the fee is shown to you upfront. You will see the fee, everything that you will pay, everything inclusive, no sneaky FX margin, nothing that's going to trip you up. And we believe it's the best way to demonstrate pricing for consumers. Now, the reason I'm actually here in New Zealand at the moment is because we have a bill that's going through the New Zealand Parliament that's going to require banks and others to show this FX margin. And that's why I'm so excited to be here at the moment, because the prospect of this is that banks are no longer going to be able to mark up their international money transfers without telling a consumer. So what will happen, hopefully, if the bill is improved in select committee, it's passed the first reading, I should say. The Parliament of New Zealand has passed the first reading of this bill, and it is now being considered by a committee, which is the next stage in the process. The bill passed, 74 votes to 49, I think. Every party in the Parliament voted in favour of it except National, but we're speaking to National. We're giving them more information about why this is so important. But ACT Party, NZ First Party, Labour Party, Greens Party, Maori Party, they all voted in favour of this because they can all understand and see how this is a very, very helpful bill for consumers. And like I said, the process here is going through the stages of consideration of the bill, and there's actually a really good opportunity that your viewers have to tell the Parliament why this is so important. And I want your viewers to know that this is the prospect of having their views heard by Parliament is very real, that there are members of Parliament who've said explicitly that they're waiting to hear from the community on this issue. And I also want to point out that there is I think I might walk your viewers through the submission process. So this bill is called the Financial Markets International Money Transfers Amendment Bill. The bill is open for consideration until the 18th of June this year. You can make a submission on the Parliament's website, and I'll provide a link that Ravi you can put up to your viewers later tonight. But you can, if you want to, make a submission on this today. Submissions will close on the 18th of June. You can see here that they're being accepted. If you are an individual, that is to say, if you are just submitting as a person, you can make it here. Or if you want to submit if you are the custodian of an organization, the president or the secretary of an organization, you can submit on behalf of an organization. As an individual, you can also determine whether or not you would like to make an oral submission, that is to say, give evidence to the committee. They'll likely, if you're in Wellington, there may be an opportunity to do it in person. If you're not in Wellington, then they'll likely do it by video conference. But if we go through to the next part of the submission process, you can see how easy it is. You provide your contact details. Ravi, I might just pop your name in here. So Ravi, what's your surname?
Yeah, Gupta.
Ravi Gupta, and we'll just do an example at gmail.com so we don't put anything out there. So all you have to do is put your name through, and then you can put your submission in. The submission can be done in a .doc or .docx, or if you want to do a PDF, you can do that. The submission will be published under your name, and personal information will be withheld, so you don't have to worry about your contact details and material being published.
So the file which you're asking them to attach, what exactly they need to write in the file?
Well, this is the thing. You can do it through a file, or you can do it here on the web form that's on the website. And you don't need the submission does not need to be any longer than you need it to be or you want it to be. So this can take 2 minutes if you wanted to. You can write about how, I send money home to my family. I am worried about the cost of sending money home. That can be the entirety of a submission. That is a valid submission. And if you want to make a recommendation, you can make a recommendation as well, which is that, in my opinion, although this is up to the consideration of anyone who wants to make a submission, but in my opinion, FX margins should be disclosed.
Okay.
That is
all right.
That is a valid submission. And that's the thing I want to express to your viewers more than anything else is that the submission does not need to be long. The submission does not need to be technical. The submission needs to be about your experiences, and the submission can be as literally as short as 2 sentences. And that's all that's needed for a valid submission to be sent through. When you do send the submission, if you want to make a submission, you can send it through. We're not going to send this one through, but it'll give you an opportunity to review your submission, and then you can read the privacy statement and submit the submission. But in this case, we won't make the submission at the moment, but the opportunity is there for anyone who does want to make a submission. I want to express very clearly, it can be short, but it should be from the heart. It should be from what you are experiencing. You should give your experiences. You should give the benefit of your knowledge. You should give the benefit of your frustrations about the costs of international money transfer. And when you send it through, and they'll send you an email back acknowledging that they've received the submission, and then you will your submission will be considered by the committee. But I would encourage every single member of the community here in New Zealand, if they want to make their voice heard, to please send something through. I guarantee you it will be read by the committee. They will consider the evidence that they receive, and they will make their decision on the merits of the bill based in large part on what the community says.
Okay, Jack, thank you so much. You are very generous that you have actually shown, step by step how to submit that to the submission. But I want to understand, if any ex-person will be listening to this now later on, they'll ask why WISE is letting people know that they should submit this. So how WISE is playing, what role your WISE is playing, and not saying
I understand. So we have, since we started, the company was started as I said, by 2 European guys who were getting frustrated by going to a bank and getting ripped off with inflated exchange rates, inflated FX margins, and they made it their mission to make these costs come down as much as possible. And we've always taken the view at WISE that proper disclosure of FX costs is beneficial for consumers. And we have to acknowledge as well, it is beneficial for WISE. And the reason it's beneficial for WISE is because we are much, much cheaper than banks. We are anywhere between, it depends which bank you measure and what routes you measure on, but we are anywhere between 4 times and 8 times cheaper than banks on most common currency routes. I would say that, the point about this is not that we are, substantially cheaper, because we do something unique and special. We're substantially cheaper because we want to give our customers a fantastic experience and reduce their costs. So we also believe that banks can be more competitive in this space. We genuinely believe that banks can be more competitive. We've seen it in other markets where price transparency does exist, where prices are required to be shown, or FX margins will be required to be shown. We do see the costs of these transactions coming down because banks are required to themselves become more competitive. But I should also point out, WISE doesn't have currency routes everywhere. There are many places where we do not have a route in place. And even then, it's still important to have this reform in place because it will benefit the consumer. Every single time a transaction is made, a person will be able to see upfront, clearly, what the cost is before they make the transaction. And this particular benefit will accrue to anyone. Even if Wise is not in the market, it will mean that banks are competing against each other, which is a very, very useful thing to have for consumers here, regardless of their background. If they're Pacifica, if they're Asian, if they're Indian, if they're American, if they're European, everyone will benefit from this.
Right. So what I understand as a common man, that most of the time I totally agree that Wise gives a cheaper price if we compare to the banks. But I'm trying to understand that when banks are giving you a conversion rate, they do not mention the FX rate. That's what you're trying to say, right? And
That's
which actually hides a lot of things, and there is no transparency, which need to be changed. Correct?
Yeah, it's entirely correct. So the bank, obviously, they give you an FX rate, which they just provide it to you. They say this is the foreign exchange rate.
Right.
That is true. That's true. That's the foreign exchange rate that they will give you.
Right.
Some banks say that this is their indicative rate. Some banks describe it as the exchange rate. But the reality is the exchange rate does depend on what it is that you are. It depends on a variety of things. What we call the mid-market rate is a combination of FX rates across a variety of different providers. And what you see on Google is an amalgamation of those rates. Now, there are other financial information providers that give you an indication of what the mid-market rate is. They're Bloomberg or Morningstar or other financial intelligence firms. These all go into the collation. They are collated for the purposes of the Google, what you might see on Google. Now, all that's being required or it's being asked of us, to get a bit technical, is that one of these reference rates is used by the bank to illustrate to their customers the differential, to illustrate to their customers what the difference is between their rate that they're offering and the rate that you might see on a financial information broker, so like Bloomberg or whatnot. And we are actually asking for them to go a slight step further, and that is to say, illustrate this cost in New Zealand dollar terms. What that will mean is that a person who goes to make a 1,000 New Zealand dollar transaction may find that the cost to them is better expressed in terms of New Zealand dollars. So if you found that you were getting 2,000 rupees less, let's just say, like this as an example, if you're getting 2,000 rupees less for the transaction that you're sending through, then you'd find that that's actually probably about 35 New Zealand dollars.
Right.
So if you said 2,000 rupees, if you were seeing that, up front, shown to you, that this transaction will not cost $0 as we saw it expressed, but in fact it costs $35.
Right.
You and I would both know that means that this is a cost to you. You know that this will have a cost to you when you send the money. It will also mean that you're likely to go find a better deal. You're likely to shop around. A person who sends a lot of money regularly, seeing that $35 every time, might say to themselves, gosh, that is expensive. Maybe I should go speak to my bank. Maybe I should go find a different bank. Maybe I should try a company like Wise. Maybe I should try finding, maybe there's another company out there that's offering a better FX rate or a cheaper way of sending money. And this is, I think, the most important part about this. This is not about setting prices. This is about unleashing the market forces to make prices cheaper sustainably. And that's the most important part about this process, is that it gives consumers the information that they need to make the best choice for themselves. Now, a consumer might decide they prefer their bank. That's fine. If a consumer believes that their bank gives them the best deal, if a consumer trusts their bank more, if a consumer thinks it's easier for them to use their bank, that is totally fine. We make a lot of decisions as consumers based on a lot of different factors. But a consumer who doesn't know that what they thought was a free transaction actually costs them 35 New Zealand dollars, that is a consumer who's likely to go find a better deal. That's a consumer that's going to go into the market, seek a competitive rate. That is a consumer that's going to yield outcomes for the whole of the market. You're going to see better products for international money transfers. You're going to see faster speeds. You're going to see more. You're going to see lower prices. because that's what competition does.
Hmm. Right. No, definitely. So, Jack, one thing I understood that Wise, in fact, exists because of these rates are high, right? The rates which we are getting from the banks are
Yeah.
higher, and I think it's the whole purpose that Wise exists. And today, when you guys are there, because of you, we feel little, easier to send money. And at the same time, like you said, if somebody is trusting their bank and they still want to go ahead and they are fine with a higher price, it's their own choice. But person like me who knows that okay, Voice is one platform where we love to send money, and it's trustable, and even though something goes wrong, the money comes back to your account, right? So
Yeah.
all those things are there. But yeah, so
Yeah.
what do you think, how this market is going to be? Do you think that in future that there can be a situation, the rates which we are getting charged even on a smaller amount like $1,000 is going to get down, or you think it could go up?
Well, look, I mean, it's with more competition, markets tend to have prices
Hmm.
come down. And
Right.
we believe that the market for international money transfer should be more competitive, and we believe that provided that there are there's sufficient competition in the market. Yes, you'll see prices come down. Obviously there are no guarantees. I can't guarantee this, but we know how market competition works,
Exactly.
and we see it in a lot of different markets. And I've got to say, look, Wise has been doing this now. We've been engaged in this for over 15 years.
Oh.
We are a trustworthy and reliable pathway for you to send your money back anywhere that you might want to send it. We offer
Hmm.
a debit card. We offer a multi-currency account. We offer local account options. So if you are a business and you want to get paid from a person in America, we can give you those account options as well. Wise is a fantastic product and service for anyone who has to send, spend, or hold money overseas. And I would encourage your viewers, if they haven't already, to check us out
Hmm.
to see what people say about us. We're a company which is, relatively young, but we really, really love the work that we do, helping people live global lives. And a lot of people, obviously, who are here in New Zealand from overseas, a lot of New Zealanders have family overseas, whether it's in Australia, whether it's in the Philippines or India or Europe. And sending money overseas is a very, very important way of bringing people together,
Right.
of making sure that families stay together. And we genuinely believe that, we provide a fantastic option for a lot of people to send and spend their money overseas. And all I can say is that the future's only going to get better. And I really encourage your viewers to join with Wise and other advocates for change in this space. Please go ahead and make a submission. I'll provide the details to you, Ravi, on how to make a submission. I would encourage you, Ravi, your family to make a submission, your friends, anyone watching this stream. This is the way that we make genuine change to improve the lives of everyone in New Zealand, the Indian community, anyone in New Zealand who wants to make an international transfer. And a lot of people do without knowing it. This is the best way to make our lives better, to bring forward this change, this bill. And I commend it to all of your viewers. This is the time to have your voice heard on a matter that's a matter for your cost of living, on a matter
Hmm.
that goes directly to making sure that the money that you earn isn't taken in a hidden fee by a bank when you want to send it back to your family. So if there are any more questions you have, happy to answer them. But I think it's a really good note to give all your friends and everyone who's watching this. Definitely make a submission to this inquiry. It's a really, really positive chance to have your voice heard.
No, definitely, and looking forward to get that information so I can pass it on with the audience, with the bigger audience. If
Very
they
happy
want to
to.
follow. Yeah, definitely. And I'll say, thank you so much, Jack, for your time, and because this is something nobody's talking about.
Yeah,
Everybody's talking about the war. Everybody's talking about the fuel, shortage, but nobody's talking about this is something which I
yeah,
think each and every one of us is involved into this, and that costs a lot to us, right?
yeah,
So this
exactly.
is
Look,
our chance to
yeah,
say our thought, by using this, submitting our, this
yeah.
submission. Yeah.
It is such a sleeper issue because it's a hidden fee. And I've got to say, I should have said this at the top, but look, there is such credit goes to Arana Williams, who's the Labor Party Consumer Affairs spokeswoman. She is wonderful. She got this. She understands. This is
Wow.
not this is not something which is immediate to mind, but she understood the benefit of
Hmm.
this to so many people in New Zealand and said, right, I think this is a really good idea. We should find a way of making this market more competitive. We should find a way for more disclosures to occur. And she is a wonderful advocate for her community. She's a wonderful advocate for anyone who might want to send money overseas. And it was her insight and her understanding about the importance of this issue that really took this bill from the biscuit tin all the way to the floor of the House and to pass the House. And it's a great opportunity, I think, to sort of say to everyone that this is not a political issue. This is not a partisan issue.
Right.
So many different political parties have come to this and said, we think this is a good idea and we want to do something about it. And as you said, Ravi, it's with so much going on in the world that's adding to the cost of living pressure for so many people, this is a simple, easy fix, which is going to reduce the costs of sending money overseas and buying from overseas, not just for individuals, but for small businesses as well. A small business that buys direct from the overseas is likely spending between, again, 2.5% to 5% more on these transactions than they normally should. And that flows through to consumers. And that's the point. This is a 660 million New Zealand dollar a year problem. And by solving this thing, you will put $660 million back into the pockets of New Zealanders without spending a single dollar of government money. That's the biggest point here. If we get this bill through, it's going to improve the lives of New Zealanders, improve the lives of migrants in New Zealand. It's going to improve the lives of New Zealanders who are in New Zealand, the lives of New Zealanders in Australia. So I would encourage your viewers absolutely to get up and type something in. It doesn't need to be long. It doesn't need to be complicated. Write something up, get it through, let the Parliament hear your voice, and let's bring power to the people.
Yeah, definitely. And I'll request all the politicians from all the parties. I will say this is something which must get converted into a law. So we get the justice and everybody is of it. Yeah,
absolutely.
Thanks,
Ravi, thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much to your viewers for watching us. I'll be very, very happy to answer questions if they send them through to you, and encourage them all to make submissions. Thank you so much again.
Most welcome. Thanks, Jack. Have a great night. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a good day. Take care. Bye.